Deputy Joe Higgins, please.
Good morning, Councillor. Can I return to the lead item on many news programmes this morning, with the residents of our capital city being bullied and blackmailed by this private waste collection company, Greyhound, which, let us remember, has just had handed over to it a few weeks ago a major, crucial public service in our city. Taoiseach, can I ask you why you adopt this morning, when questioned about this, the demeanour of a previous Taoiseach who addressed questions about problems as if they existed on another planet? Can I ask you in particular, Taoiseach, if you will agree that, on the contrary, you in particular should feel this morning, as a result of this action, ashamed, diminished and humiliated? And the reason I ask about your sense of responsibility for this situation is because you are the leader of the Labour Party. Your party occupies the position of Lord Mayor of Dublin. Your party has 19 out of 52 councillors, by far the biggest group. You are also Taoiseach, Deputy Prime Minister of this state, and with your Fine Gael allies, you have a crushing majority on Dublin City Council. Now, in view of all that, Taoiseach,
question, please. Thank you.
Does it sit well with you that you have presided over the privatisation of this crucial public service, that you have handed it to a company which has taken its corporate centre to an offshore island so that it doesn't need to publish its profits?
We're over time, Deputy. Come on.
And to a company that can arrogantly treat the hard-pressed citizens of our capital city in this manner. Now, Taoiseach, finally, in view of this debacle, and that you are also acquiescing in a cringing fashion to the Troika demand of massive privatisations in our bigger public services and state agencies, does this now give you pause for thought?
Thank you.
Rather than creating further debacles? And what is the Labour Party going to do today to resolve this problem with regard to the people of Dublin and guarantee them a proper public service in an issue, or in a way that local authorities did going back to Victorian days?
Taoiseach. Can I have the reply, please? Thank you.
I have no difficulty at all. I have no difficulty at all, Cancorla.
Deputy, please. Please.
I have no difficulty.
Thank you.
I have no difficulty at all, Cancorla, in discharging my responsibilities. But you know, Deputy Higgins, you have a bit of responsibility here yourself. You spent years going around this city encouraging people not to pay their charges to Dublin City Council and to the other local authorities. When no, I'll repeat it for you. Yeah, you spent years, Deputy Higgins. You spent You spent years encouraging people not to pay their bin charges to Dublin City Council and to other local authorities. As a consequence of which, Deputy Higgins, you undermined the viability of the service being provided by the local authorities, as a consequence of which the service ended up being privatised. I have always been amazed, Deputy Higgins, that when you were going around the city, and you and your mates encouraging people not to pay their charges to the City Council or to the County Councils, I never heard you arguing that they shouldn't pay their charges to the private collectors who were competing with the local authorities. You did more to undermine the service that was being provided, the public service that was being provided by the public authorities in Dublin, than anybody else. And you shouldn't be surprised now. You shouldn't be surprised now that a consequence of that, and there's a consequence for your actions, Deputy Higgins. You shouldn't be surprised now that a consequence of that is that Dublin City Council and the other local authorities ended up privatising their services. Now, in respect of this particular privatisation and the transfer to a private company, yes, there have been very big problems in that transition, and we've seen that, and I've already said that there are 18,000 householders who are in difficulty with their waste collection service. That is being dealt with. The Minister for the Environment has made his position very clear on it. I made the government's position clear on it here this morning. That company should exercise flexibility at this point in time in respect of the collection of the waste and in respect of arrangements for the payment. I have also made it clear that in the event of that not happening, the government has indicated what its alternative approach will be in relation to the future of the waste collection service. So the government, Deputy Higgins, will discharge and is discharging its responsibilities in relation to this matter, and it's time that you took some responsibilities for your own actions and for the consequence of your role in the privatisation of the bin collection service in Dublin.
Deputy Higgins, 1 minute, thank you. Without interruption, please. Thank you. Would you mind, please? Would you mind? Hey. Deputy Ellis, would you please? Excuse me. Would you address matters through the chair, please? Thank you. Or else you can do it outside. No, but you have to learn to listen. Thank you. Could I have some deputies? Would you please allow the deputy his right to reply? Thank you. We live in a democracy, you know.
Taoiseach, I knew that you would try to divert the question in exactly the way you did. And therefore, I go back to what does...
Please, this is not funny, thank you.
I go back to what does not lie, which is the history of this issue. And there was a fresh-faced councillor in Dunleary in the 1980s who put out a statement that he was the first councillor in the country to propose and win the abolition of the water rates. Then the same councillor, in a new manifestation...
It's a supplementary question you're supposed to be asking, please. Not a lecture on history. Thank you.
In a new...
Please,
in a new manifestation...
Thank you.
In a new manifestation in Democratic Left, late 80s, early 90s... I'm
well aware of the history of Deputy Gilmore. I worked with him long enough. Would you mind asking your supplementary question? Thank you.
Thank you.
Supplementary question, thank you.
Can call it seriously.
I am very serious. This is a supplementary question for 1 minute. Thank you.
It's impossible to focus and to concentrate on an issue in a meaningful way. You know, when the various choruses from the government benches constantly try to throw you off.
Yeah, please.
Look,
please.
Deputy Stagg, I know that you're...
No, please. We've had enough of this, please.
Your thwarted political ambitions has a lot more to do with
Deputy Higgins, Deputy Higgins, through the chair, please.
You made your seat in 1980.
Deputy, I'm going to call an end to this if you don't please reply to.
In a new reincarnation, Democratic Left, the PAYE taxpayer whom we represent has already paid enough tax for local services and should not have to pay again. Fast forward to Deputy Eamon Gilmore, 2003 Labour spokesperson on the environment, who said
I'm not interested in quotations.
Who said to the Fianna Fáil Minister of the day, by further introducing a measure
Deputy, would you please ask your supplementary question? Thank you. You have 1 minute.
How can I ask my
You're nearly
question?
3 minutes over.
When these hyenas over here just won't, I would be finished.
Oh, no, we're 3 minutes over time, Deputy.
Don't call it
Come on,
seriously.
come on, come on.
With respect,
What's your supplementary question?
You are supposed to protect my
I am
rights.
trying to protect you. But if you started addressing the...
Yes. The fact is that the baying hyenas in the Labour Party just put me off all the time. I just cannot... Now, can I just then, in a nutshell...
Yes.
Can I put it to you, Deputy Taoiseach? These are your words in 2003 to the Minister. By further introducing a measure which will make it legal for local authorities to refuse collections to households which have not paid, Minister Cullen is introducing a compulsory bill tax.
Thank you, Deputy.
The Labour Party...
You're over time now. No, that's the end of it. I call on the Taoiseach to reply. No, Deputy. No. No, please. Resume your seat, Deputy, please. Taoiseach to reply.
2003 Taoiseach, the vast majority of
Deputy, I asked you to resume your seat. Deputy, I asked you to resume. Deputy, would you please have some respect for the chair? Thank you.
This is February 2012, and there are 18,000 householders in this city who are having difficulty having their refuse collected. And there's a problem that has arisen following the arrangements that were made by the management of Dublin City Council. That's the problem that needs to be resolved. And Deputy Higgins, you should take your head out of the archives and get real about the should get real about the problems that people have in the here and now. There is a problem in Dublin City in the here and now. That is the problem that the Minister for the Environment is dealing with. That's the problem that the government is dealing with. We have stated the approach that we're taking with it, and that's what we're going to concentrate on getting resolved, so that the people in this city can have their waste collected and a reasonable arrangement in place for the collection of the charges that apply to it.
Thank you, Taoiseach. We now move